Hey guys, it's Zero here, and I wanted to start a new series where I talk about the fundamentals of Overwatch and discuss the macro concepts in this wonderful game. I want this series to start from scratch for people who have no idea whatsoever about team compositions and team play, so it will start off really basic and slowly go into more depth. There will also be a companion playlist for more advanced concepts that will look into similar ideas but in a bit more detail. This video though is the first in the series, and it will focus on introducing the idea of spam, brawl and dive compositions. Let's get started. Most Overwatch compositions can be placed into three categories: either spam, brawl or dive. First, let's look at what heroes are considered to be part of spam, brawl or dive compositions. Spam compositions are made up of heroes who either do a large amount of damage from medium to long range, like Pharah, Zen, Hanzo, Junkrat, Echo, Bastion, Baptiste, etc, etc, etc. It might also include characters who aid others in being able to generate damage, like Mercy or Orisa. Brawl consists of characters who operate at short distances and can punish the enemy if they are on top of them. Characters who are typically considered Brawl include Brig, Reinhardt, Zarya, Symmetra, Mei, Reaper, and others. Dive heroes often have mobility or the ability to aid characters from across the map. Characters like Winston, D.Va, Tracer, Genji are all good examples. This is a massive simplification, but it's a good place to start. So a pure brawl comp might look like Reinhardt, Zarya, Reaper, Mei, Lucio, Moira. Lucio is almost always on a brawl composition because he allows the brawl team to get into that close range. A spam composition might look like Orisa, Sigma, Hanzo, Echo, Baptiste, Zen. And a pure dive composition might look like Winston, D.Va, Genji, Tracer, Zen, Mercy. So this is what's meant by spam, brawl and dive. Let's look at each composition in a bit more detail. Spam comps specialise in being able to melt the enemy's shields, then the tanks and then everybody else. Fights with spam comps really boil down to a race of resources. Against spam, it's a question of can your team destroy the enemy shields before they destroy yours. Against brawl and dive, it's a question of can you wipe them out or do enough damage or remove all of their key resources before they get inside your team. Spam really comes down to target focus. If you have 6 people shooting at the enemy shields, then they should break ultra quick to allow you to mow down the enemies behind it. If however you are all shooting different things, then the shield won't be destroyed. Against dive, it's the same. If you all target the Winston, you can blow him up before he even lands. If however you are all hitting different things, then the point of a spam comp is completely ruined. A large part of a spam composition comes down to map control. If a defending team sets up in a position that takes control of most of the map, it gives very little room for the enemy team to safely move around the map or set up anywhere. I will talk about map control in more detail in a later video. Spam performs well in situations where there are long sidelines, less cover for the enemy, and hard chokes where they can just spam all of their damage through. Maps like Junkertown, Temple of Anubis and Volskaya Industries are all good for spam. Brawl comps are all about mowing down the enemy at close range. They want to avoid any spam before the fight and get close as soon as possible. They have very little impact before the fight, but once they are on top of the enemy, no other composition is as good at melting down targets as the brawl comp. Brawl performs well in tight enclosed areas where the enemy is forced to fight them at close range, and maps where there are hard chokes that they can hold. Maps like King's Row and Hanamura are good examples. Brawl is usually about staying close together and moving as a tight unit to minimise the spam the team receives. The pathing the team takes to approach the enemy and how close together they are will heavily influence how successful this composition is. Finally, dive is about setting up for a big attack. They locate who they want to destroy on the enemy team, usually a defenseless support or another squishy, and then jump them. Dive is all about timing the engage and jumping together. It requires a lot of teamwork and communication in comparison to the other two compositions that I've discussed. It should be noted that dive has changed a lot since it first appeared in Overwatch, and a lot of the old guides on YouTube are not applicable anymore. Old dive comps used to involve jumping behind the enemy team to assassinate their supports, but more recently it's changed to focus more on pressuring tanks. I will discuss this more in a later video. Dive is a composition that loves high ground to engage from, and multiple lanes or paths through the map where they can arrange a dive from multiple angles. Good dive maps include Watchpoint, Gibraltar and Nimbani. Again, this is a simplification, but Spam likes long sightlines and open areas, Brawl likes short sightlines and closed areas, and Dive likes high ground and open areas. This has been a really brief introduction to the three compositions, but it is vital to understand this for the upcoming videos. Next video I will talk about how these compositions interact with each other. If you do have any questions or disagree with anything that I've said, as always, argue with me in the comments down below. But thank you all for watching and see you in the next video.